Unmuted. Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. We are here at our virtual happy hour. It looks like we're in all the groups, and it looks like we are ready to rock and roll. Super excited. Can't wait to answer all of your questions. So, if this is your very first virtual happy hour, let me kind of tell you how it works. So you guys can come on and watch our YouTube channel or in one of our Facebook groups. Now, if you are watching in one of our Facebook groups and you would like to be able for me to call you out, because again, for better for worse, Facebook does have it forces you guys to kind of give what's called Restream, which is a platform that we stream from, permission to let them know. So if you can see like here, someone saying hello, unfortunately just says Facebook user, boo, I want to say hi, right? So if you guys go to chat.restream.io/Facebook, you're going to be able to give Restream the ability for me to see your name. And of course, I'm going to try very hard to keep an eye on YouTube and Facebook to kind of see if I can see who's saying there. So I just looked on our Savvy Pet Pro and it looks like Natalie. Hey, Natalie, welcome live. So I am going to go ahead and I do have a question that's already been sent. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. But if you guys are here live and you want me to answer your questions, please go ahead and put them down in the chat box. If you're not comfortable sending them in the chat, you can always post them on Facebook and I'll be able to pop them open. So I did have this lovely bottle of wine that I was going to be drinking tonight, but unfortunately, I did not bring a bottle opener. Boo. So I have coffee anyway. We're at the point now where I had to add more. It's now kind of watery, so I've got to add more ice to it. It's about 7 o'clock here. It's been kind of a crazy day. We had in group mentoring, we had obviously every week, we have our group mentoring, and then we had our first managed masterclass. So that was exciting. So let me see if I can pull this up. If not, I will just go ahead and read it out loud, this question. And like I said, if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to listen to you and answer those questions. It's always tough to get live because I'm like, am I on all the channels? Can you guys hear me? Yada, yada, yada. This was a great question. So the question was, I love the first consultation groom. I would appreciate tips on how to better explain the value. Sometimes I think I don't explain it well and want to communicate it better with them. So this is a great question. So for those of you guys that are maybe not entirely familiar with the Savvy Groomer, I teach what's called a consultation groom. So in a consultation groom, let me put that. I'm going to put that in the chat here. That way. Boop. See? Ta-da! Let's talk consultation grooms. So what are consultation grooms? So consultation grooms are essentially the first time you're going to groom a dog or a cat, let's be honest here. So unlike a regular consultation where you're not going to be, manipulating the pet, touching them, grooming them, etc., a consultation groom is saying, I'm going to block off a specific amount of time for you. We're going to work through your goals. Like as an owner, what are your goals for this pet's hair? I'm going to get to know this pet better. And I'm going to be able to evaluate them as an individual. So I really love consultation grooms because I think it puts the power back on us. And it forces people to understand that, no, this is just not like a walk-in service. This is not a service that you can just kind of use and abuse and kind of disappear, right? Consultation groom sets the boundary of, hey, you have to interview to be my client, and I have to decide if we're going to have a long-term relationship. So a consultation groom is kind of like a first date. It's a lot of getting to know you getting to know me, and then us deciding if we want to pursue anything. So when we're talking about the value, we really want to focus on what the goal is. So the goal is to create a long-term relationship with that client and with that pet. So I think the easiest way to explain this too, right, to the average pet owner is to say, here at Example Grooming, we work really hard to make sure that your pet is treated as an individual. We want to get to know them, and learn what is the best services for them. And by doing that, we're going to take our time, especially the first groom, because we don't know what your pet likes, what your pet doesn't like. We don't know how your pet's hair is going to react to being groomed, right? And especially with all of these mixed breeds, it's not like I'm going to hand you, a purebred dog and it's going to be easy. And even then, a lot of these purebred dogs don't. It was so nice going to Super Zoo, like all the well-bred dogs, like, oh, like a Bichon that looks like a Bichon. It was so nice. So again, this is our opportunity to go, maybe I want to get to know you. So again, if there's different ways of creating value during this. So what some people do, one of my students does, she has a very high consultation. So she's going to charge her normal rate for a bath and blow dry is $100. Her haircuts go for $150 to $200. So her consultation groom is 300. However, that 300 includes a haircut and then a bath within 4 weeks. So if they come in for the groom, then she's going to include a bath and blow dry within 4 weeks. And the reason she does that is so that way it's already included and it's already telling you if that person sees value in regular maintenance grooming. And so you could do things where you can say, okay, you're basically prepaying for two haircuts, right? Because in the first consultation groom, you don't really know what you're getting into. It also sets a clear divide between regular maintenance clients and you having to reapply and come back through the process of applying to be my client, right? So essentially, what can happen there is by me doing a consultation group, I'm really holding space for that pet. I like to see you guys have consultation grooms, no more than one, right, a day, ideally the last groom of the day. That way, it's the last appointment. If they don't show up, you're not mad. You get to go home early. If you don't have any new clients, you've basically built in time, right? You're not going to have to reshuffle clients. Like, again, if you have a new client, they take a little longer than expected, you're not going to have to shuffle around other clients. And obviously I'm assuming that you guys are staying on time, you're not running behind that day. But even if you are, right, that's where ideally you would have a buffer and that dog should be done. A consultation groom in a perfect world should be done straight through, or as straight through as possible. And it's probably going to be a 2-hour appointment. If you normally groom dogs in an hour, I would block off 2 hours, right? That might be a situation. Everyone does their consultation grooms different. Some of my students who are like really holistic, what they're going to do is they're going to wait till everyone is out of the building, right at the end of the day, everything's cleaned up, and they're going to have this one pet. And they're going to lock the door. The pet's going to be allowed to sniff and kind of wander, maybe have a licky mat, right? Just like really kind of relax and chill out while the owner and the groomer are communicating and getting to know, okay, what are your goals? What is this? What is that? Letting the pet just kind of settle, sniff around, if they have a tub area that's there, the pet can wander there. And again, everyone is so different. If you don't have a safe environment for pets to wander, don't do that. But in this case, that's what they do. And again, it's more about, once the pet is calm, then they can say, okay, owner, you can leave. It should take me about an hour and a half. Obviously, the owner leaves. Wherever the owner leaves, you might send them to a coffee shop. I love giving clients like $5 little coffee shop gift cards. They can go wander there. And un- then you have time to really get to know that pet and give them really the undivided attention. Because in a perfect world, if we took this um, if we took this seriously, if we took this in a pro- professional way, we would require people to apply to be our clientele. We would make people prove to us, right? Because the goal is a long term committed relationship with these pets, right? I don't really want to groom a dog that everyone is grooming in town. I don't like it when I'm grooming a dog and then next thing I know, that dog is also being groomed by somebody else down the street. And now I've got to fix that haircut, or maybe they didn't get all the mats out, or maybe they used Dawn and now the dog is either smelly or they didn't. If it's a de-shed dog, they didn't pull all that coat out. So I'm saying, listen, I am willing to commit to you. Are you willing to commit to me? So I think it's mainly depending upon how you're branded in the way that you're going to explain the consultation group. Let's say if you're really high end and you're really luxurious, you would explain that you're an exclusive salon. If you're a membership model, you might say that you're members only and they need to apply for membership. If you're a more relaxed, what I call a Dunkin' Donuts style grooming business, you may instead opt for more of a casual thing and be like, look, you know, your pet is an individual and they need to be treated like an individual. We want to make sure your pet has the most positive experience that they possibly can. And so, in order to do that, I need to block off this time. I'm not willing to have a dog come into a strange environment and kind of get thrown into the mix. All the other dogs here are so used to this grooming salon. They're used to the people here. We really want to set your pet up for success. And the person who just wants a haircut, they're probably not your soulmate client. And a lot of us kind of have to decide what kind of clients we want. It's funny because I hear some people saying, like, oh, I don't want to lose clients. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But on the flip side, they also have a never ending wait list or they have a never ending phone calls and people calling. The average groomer right now is grooming about 100 dogs a month. So it's 20, if you have 5 days a week, let's say 5 dogs, and that's a mix of big and small, probably, right? So 5 dogs, 5 days a week, that's 25 a week, 4 days a week. Even if you're like, well, I'm grooming 8, well, let's do that math. I think that's 40 a week. So 40, it's 8, so that's 160. Even then, that's not a lot of people. If you really think about, like, Starbucks serves more coffees than that in the morning, right? If you think about how many people go to Starbucks for coffee, you only need 100 to 160, depending upon how many dogs you're grooming per day, committed people. That's not a lot of people, right? So, what the consultation groom does is it forces people, again, if they go over a certain amount of weeks, if you're in every 4 week salon, I would have, if you're over 6 weeks. If you're over 6 weeks, you have to reapply to be a regular customer. And again, that shows that you are setting boundaries. And the reason having those boundaries is so good is because, again, if I'm a customer and I know that if I go over 6 weeks, I have to go back through that expensive consultation groom, right? And again, it's like, nope, it's been too long. We're going to reintroduce them because we put their mental, physical, and emotional health above that, right? And I honestly believe that. We had a really busy salon. When I had my grooming salon, we were grooming about 40 dogs a day between 5 people. We had bathers and groomers, but all the dogs were incredibly well adjusted because we did things the same way. They knew everyone. We made sure they felt incredibly comfortable. We were hustle bustling, so we weren't always the best, but a lot of that came down to just, quirky personalities with dogs. Like we had this one Aussie who literally just like happy barked at everything. Um, and so he was groomed first thing in the morning, and I was like, get him out, right? But it wasn't ever a thing where dogs were stressed out. And if they were, right, we worked on that. So, oh, wonderful. Kirsten says, I'm going through the old lives today. Love that. Kirsten, while you're here, do you have any questions? We are on our virtual happy hour. We're able to answer questions. Right now, I'm riffing a little bit on consultation groups, but I'm more than happy to communicate and answer anything else if you'd like. Or anybody else, if you're here live and you want your questions answered live, we've got another 30 minutes here. So you're welcome to ask questions. If not, that's perfectly good too. But going back to consultation groups, I just think it's a win-win. And so it can be a little bit difficult for us to explain that to clients, but that's only because we're not used to setting boundaries. We're not used to communicating our needs, right? Um, it's so interesting because we know we're not desperate, right? We know we're not desperate for clients. We know we have way more pets that could be groomed, right? Versus the amount of pets that are actually around, right? So if you think about it, again, if that groomer needs 100 to 160 tops, right? Most of us are not grooming more than 8 dogs a day, 5 days a week. There are definitely some power groomers. And again, I'm talking about one groomer, right? I'm not talking about a bather and a groomer. I'm talking about one groomer. So I only need 100 to 160 people to commit to me monthly. That's not a lot of people. And it seems like a lot of people till you break down, right? That there are 365 days. So I would really consider the fact that having consultation group allows you to really break that down. Awesome. So Brittany is asking if interested in hearing more onboarding tips for new clients. So this is a great conversation. And this is actually something we've been really doing a deep dive in our VA program. For those of you guys that don't know, we've just beta launched a program called Step Away from the Table. And that is a way to basically, they're a virtual assistant for groomers. So this is for groomers that cannot groom anymore, or you're wanting to start getting away from grooming. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that first. And then I'm going to go into, because I'm going to actually pull up some of that training, Brittany. It's some juicy, juicy training. So this is Step Away from the Table. So just literally stepawayfromthetable.com. And as you can see, we talk all about our VA program. And again, for some of you guys, you might want to have this. So this is in beta mode. And what's awesome is that we're going to teach people how to be a virtual assistant for the grooming industry, because a lot of groomers are ready to make some extra income from home, be able to step away, semi-retire, whatever it is. I think that one of the limiting beliefs is that you have to run a big salon in order to be able to make money. So this is in beta mode. We're going to be launching a few new things with that. So we're going to be launching a members only Facebook group that is going to eventually be a paid group. But for right now, for you guys willing to come through beta with us, we're going to be giving that to you while it's still in beta mode. And we're going to also have in there a Google Doc specialist. So they're going to help us be able to create custom Google Docs and create Google Docs for you guys to work on that. So in this program, we talk about what's called client flow and onboarding. So let me pop that open for you guys. Make sure you guys can see that. Okay. So this is client flow and onboarding. You guys should be able to see that now. So we always want to start, where do we want to find clients to begin? So in this example, the client's going to search various websites for grooming services. Then they're going to fill out an intake form on your website. They're going to find your website. You're going to, hit all their pain points, sell on your website, and then they're going to fill this intake form. And then the intake form is going to be responded to via email during office hours. And then the new client books until, initial appointment via email. And again, this is just an example. And in the VA program, we walk through. Now, the VA program is a foundational. So we're teaching you how to be support staff, not a manager, not a business owner. That's the next tier. But in this, we're teaching you how to do that. So first things first, we want to create a client flow and an onboarding sequence, right? And then we need to, in this one, we talk about, who is in charge of what task. So when you're creating your onboarding flow, who is in charge of this? Now, you might be the only person in charge of this. So you need to say, okay, how do I want my client to find me, right? Then how do I want them to first contact me? Do I want them to contact me via phone? Do I want them to contact me via email? Do I want them to contact me, um, you know, this intake form? And then once I get this intake form, are they then going to go ahead and be able to, for instance, right? If I'm going to have these intake forms, come to me and then I have an email that's sent back, or when they're filling in the intake form, something like, we only check the intake forms once a month. I mean, you don't have to do this all the time. I think you guys are constantly rushing around like a crazy person. You can tell people like, listen, we only look at applications once a month and it's the first week of the month or the first Sunday of the month, right? You don't have to do that. You can let people know. It's not uncommon, right? And again, that's where you need to change your mind. These are applications when you're talking about intake forms, right? And so this is where we want to start with our onboarding. And when the actual nitty gritty of onboarding, that's where we have to get really down deep into your personal expertise, Brittany. And while I answer another question, if you want to give me some insight, what is important when you're doing these, right? So for instance, right, is that, making sure they're signing all of these things? Is that doing a follow-up call or some sort of client retention work, right? How do you want this client flow to work? And then that's going to help dictate your onboarding. And as far as like what to ask and all that, that really depends wildly on what is going on in your business. Do you take big dogs? Do you take elderly dogs? Do you take dogs with behavioral problems? And I love intake forms. I love, whether they go to a software or they're just a Google Doc. They're amazing because it allows a client to fill that information in. And then it's like a matter of, am I then going to take that information and am I going to make a phone call? Am I going to send an email? And again, I would really streamline it and either have office hours where you're only doing this 2 or 3 days a week, or 1 day a week, or once a month, right? And again, that's going to help differentiate between regular clients and clients that kind of want to be your fling clients. So, Brittany, I'm going to put a pin in that for a little bit, but if you want to give some more insight on more ways I can help you with that onboarding, I'm more than happy to do that. So the question is, I would love suggestion on how to explain to owners the advantage of moving to a 4 or 6 week schedule when we've used to booking for 8 weeks. Oh, too long. One of the reasons I'm moving to 6 week schedule is because I've been diagnosed with medical nerve compression. I want dogs more often to be easier on my body. I actually have, and let me see if I can find it on my YouTube while we're live. On this, I had a student who wanted to know why I thought 4 weeks was best, and I have some actually really great verbiage. And so I can touch on this lightly. I'm getting mobbed, Brittany. Savvy groomer, 4 week. Let me look up 4 week. Yeah, I can't spell. So I'm going to put that in the chat. And then I think I can put that on the Facebook. So that is, hang on, let me share the whole tab. Boop. There we go. So this is 4 weeks, the best grooming schedule. It's about 27 minutes long. I definitely go over things. We talk about the hair cycle. So this is where too, a lot of times I have content for you guys. Oh, that's funny. Brittany's kids are being silly, silly, silly human children. Let me just bump this. I'm gonna reply right. My bad. There we go. So I put that in there, Kirsten. I put that link in for this. And what's awesome for me is that I can go back through and say, all right, back in May, what are the points that I all made? So, we talked about the hair cycle. Again, it's every 30 days. I think it's better for their skin and coat. If you talk to basically anybody who's in the skin and coat game, they're always talking about 4 weeks, right? The hair cycle is going to rotate every 4 weeks. So we're going to catch shedding every cycle. But also, if the skin cycle is every 30 days, we're going to keep optimal health for that. Same thing with the flea cycle, for better, for worse, right? If I'm not saying take flea dogs, but if I'm going to catch fleas, I'm going to catch them way better in an every 3 week cycle versus an every 4 week cycle. Um, here we go. See if it teaches me. And then we talk about price points for us. All right. So those were the main reasons for the clients that I had brought up before, which again are super valid. Whoop. Um, I think the main thing to explain to people, for better for worse, is to say, listen, I have X amount of appointments available a month. So the way I explained it to my cat clients, because if I had done it now, I would have done a membership, because a membership forces mutualness, right? I have a contract that we're both agreeing to close our books, right? Because a lot of us have these kind of one way open relationships, right? I feel like it's like this terrible red pill thing where we're monogamous and they can go off and cheat, right? Cheat. But one thing that I see is that for better for worse, if we want to bring everyone down to, I would say, a 4 week schedule. I'll tell you why. Because if I need 100 people on a 4 week schedule, that means that I need 200 every 6 weeks. That means I have to keep 150 people organized, scheduled. That's 50% more clients because they don't want to commit to a 4 week schedule. That's not really something I'm willing to do. I'm like, listen, you need to commit to me. I need them on a regular basis. If you're going to save money, it's not from me. If you want to save money, go save money at the grocery store, at the gas station. Grooming is a luxury, and it's really not fair for us to try, like, people to kind of penny pinch with us. I don't think it's appropriate. I think we have artificially said 8 weeks for no good reason. If you ask the average groomer, why do we say 4, 6, or 8 weeks? Who came up with that? 4 weeks makes sense. It's the hair cycle, it's the flea cycle. Most things are on a monthly cycle. 8 weeks is just for people to stretch money and save money. Same thing with 6. So again, we want to optimal health for the pet. Emotionally, I think it's the best because again, if you know, it makes it a part of life. So I would really tell them that. And again, one thing I told my cat clients was I literally told them, I said, listen, my goal is 100 monthly clients. One, I will schedule you for 6 weeks. At the time, I did schedule a few people for 8, but it didn't work out. 6 week is actually the hardest because if your 4 week client gets Monday at 8 a.m. and then your 6 week client gets it, then who gets that appointment, right? And the 6 week person is going to book out 2 appointments. That's 12 weeks. That means that 4 week person has to book out for 3 times to make sure they don't lose their spot. I'm not willing to give a spot to a 6 week person and bump a 4 week person. That's not really fair. So what I told them was that we can definitely keep you on a 6 week schedule, but just understand that if I fill that spot with a 4 week customer, I can no longer groom Fluffy. And I just want to make sure you understand that because I really enjoy grooming Fluffy and I don't want to lose Fluffy. right? I would really rather see you on a 4 week schedule. However, I understand everyone has a different budget, they have different priorities. So if you want to stay on a 6, you can, but just understand that if I get someone on a 4 week schedule in your spot, I will need to immediately cancel all of your future appointments. For some people, that'll create enough pressure, right? And you need to mean it. And that can be a little bit harsh, but it is and it isn't, right? It's harsh, but you could just commit, right? And people that cry poor mouth are always the people that have a $700 right now, like a Jeep Wrangler, because I want one, is like a $700 a month car payment. I'm like, there's no way, right? So whenever we say things like, oh, people can't afford it, bullshit. People can buy, I got Dots pretzels because I'm obsessed. $7 a bag. I don't value pretzels enough to buy them every week, right? So to me, that's going to be a treat. So either I value something and I'm willing to put the money forward, or I don't. And us playing pussyfoot with a person that is trying to save money with us is not a good long-term plan because eventually they're always going to leave you over money. So someone asked, would a consult groom be any different for mobile grooming? So it does depend. Again, I still think it should be the last one of your session. So if you have, if your first one starts at 8, and so let's say every 2 hours you have that, however you do your mobile schedule. The only thing different would be that your last groom of the day, and that might be an extended day, depending, but hopefully not, because you'd have to find where they would fit, right? So that day you might have a hole. So for instance, if I have, I live in Rhode Island. So let's say I go to Cranston on Mondays, right? So I have my spot. So Monday, because again, and in theory, you guys are doing these every 4 week, perfectly blocked schedules. So if I know Monday, I'm in Cranston, I have my 8 o'clock filled, and my 10 o'clock is that open spot. Now, I might, right, move everybody up because that's what you would do if you had that spot empty, right? Generally speaking. And now they're at the bottom. And again, you might have to reshuffle when you have somebody new, but it's really not that big of a deal with mobile. It really depends on the way you've structured your mobile. Some mobile people are like very set in stone. You are Monday, the first Monday of the month at 8 a.m., no matter what, come hell or high water. And some people are like, you know what? You're on this week, wherever I can fit you in that week, we'll figure it out. And some of you guys are like, you're on Monday. I don't know which Monday, but one of these Mondays you're going to be on. So everyone does mobile a little bit different. And it's so funny because especially like a lot of you guys, whenever like we do one-on-one coaching, like I'm always like, there's like 30 different ways of doing everything, right? And it's so funny because a lot of you guys have like only been taught certain ways. And it's so much fun to be like, here are all the possibilities you never knew existed. Good luck. No, just kidding. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, so if you are the kind of person where you have very rigid blocked, like you are always 8, Monday at 8 o'clock, and then you have this block at 10, then I would do that. And I would tell the next client, right? So let's say my 8 o'clock appointment is my normal appointment. I have a block from 10 to 12. I might call my 12 o'clock appointment and say, listen, I'm going to be doing a consultation groom at 10 o'clock. It is a new dog. I just want to let you know that today might be a day I might be running behind. If I am, I sincerely apologize, but I want to give this new dog the same time, care, and attention that I gave your pet the first time I groomed it. And then you're like, oh my God, no problem, because most mobile clients are freaking amazing. If you're the kind of person where you're like, I just show up on Monday and I show up whenever I want with my mobile clients, then I would leave that last appointment, right? So if I have 5 slots on a Monday, then everyone's been bumped up anyway, right? My noon is now my 10, and then my 2 is now my noon. So then let's say for easy math, my 2 o'clock is now empty. So I go home early that day. Well, then that's where I would put that consultation groom in. Because I'd be like, all right, I come to Cranston on Mondays. The next Monday consultation groom I have available is this day. This is the price point. It's more money. And I like to make it your last groom of the day because some people are like, no, I want to be fresh for new dogs. No, you don't. You want to be exhausted going to this new dog because then if this dog is not aligned to you, if this dog is a little cranky or this or that, you're going to be already exhausted and you're going to be like, you know what? I like this dog even if I was exhausted versus you're fresh in the morning. You have more patience. And I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if at your worst, or at least like your least positive for the day, you still like this dog, then this is the dog to add. If this dog, if you're like, I would rather set myself on fire than ever come back to this dog, you will know it way more because that dog can't always be the first dog of the day, right? And so by being the last dog, you're going to be honest because you're already exhausted. You're going to be more real and more honest with that dog, right? And because you have unlimited time, you're going to be able to be patient even though you're not going to feel your most patient. I hope that helps and makes things a lot easier to understand. Poor Brittany's getting beat up by her kiddos. That's so cute. I'm being mobbed by new people as 2 groomer shop in town are closing this month. I did callbacks, about 10 messages this afternoon, looking for a quick fix on street. So, Brittany, are you doing a intake form? And again, are you taking new clients? Are you going to be doing a price increase? Are you going to be streamlining things? Like this is where a lot of times this is a great opportunity, especially this time of year. September is the perfect. So I like to see you guys do price increases in September and in March, either one or both, either way. So, and this is a great opportunity to consider, do you want to do membership grooming, right? And have everyone commit to a 4-week schedule. And so there's lots of different ways. So you can either hire a VA and a VA can literally do all of that for you. You can have a intake form, right? And when you're doing the intake form, if you do it a Google Doc, you can have certain things that if they click something, so Brittany's saying of a drop in price versus a monthly price. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is the monthly price should be your standard pricing, right? So whatever you want to make, if it was an 8, if you're not following Savvy Groomer, depends on how long you guys have been following Savvy Groomer. So let's say your goal is $100 a dog. At 4 weeks, it should be $100 a dog. And then 6 and 8 weeks, there should be an additional cost for that. And so I'm assuming you say drop in. I'm assuming you're saying like a member and a non-member kind of price. So if that's the case, then, again, it might be getting rid of anyone who's not going to commit to a 4-week schedule. If you've had 2 groomer shops in town close this month, if every groomer is grooming an average of 100 to 160 dogs, you're going to have 200 calls easily. So it is deciding, okay, how am I going to create stability in my business as these new people flood in? They're going to be price shopping and couch hopping and all that stuff. Not couch hopping. I don't know why I said couch hopping. Yeah, I just pictured like, bouncing around, right? Shop hopping, which sounds like a weird thing to say, shop hopping. But again, it's one of those things where we have to make that decision of how are we going to make it worth our time? And you can also do things like, I'm assuming, by the way, too, when they're doing their intake form, right? Because I don't, let me make sure I read this. I also would not, I wish you guys would not put your phone number on your website or on your vehicles. Don't put it on your signage. Don't put it on your, website. Get your phone off. Get your phone gone. Gone, 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 gone. Because again, it takes so much more time and money to do phone calls. If you hire a VA to go through intake forms, and have them like organize them for you into like yes, no, maybes. They can send out Harvard letters or Harvard texts. Thank you so much for inquiring. At this time, we're not going to be offering you a consultation groom. Da, 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 da. They can bang out all of those things very quickly. Phone calls take forever. The Harvard letter style phone call takes at least 10 minutes. Even if you try to make it 5, it's going to make it 10. If you have to reply 10, that's over an hour. So for someone like Brittany, who, again, she got 10 messages this afternoon, I would figure out where your phone number is and figure out if you can get it off the internet and have them go to a website. Any new client should go to an intake form where you get all the what information do you want them to know, right? And they put all of that, whether it's through some softwares have intake forms built in, or even just a Google Doc where they have to fill in that information, or on your website have that information filled in. And then you let them know you're going to email them back if you're going to entertain them or not, right? A yes or a no. And that would greatly reduce it. Because if you had an intake form and you let people know, pick a day, let's say Monday. I'm really into Mondays right now. If you had everyone fill out those forms, and then on Monday, you go through the forms, right? And again, you can have Google Docs, you can have things be flagged if it's like, for instance, let's say, are you willing to commit to a 4-week schedule? And they click no. You could have Google Docs like flag those so you automatically know that person is going to get a Harvard letter. Versus when I say Harvard letter, I jokingly call that like the denial letter. Like I feel like Harvard has like some of the best, like many people apply. Thank you so much for your application. Right. But you have a good night too, girly. But yeah, it's one of those things that you can really streamline that down instead of spending, a couple of hours every single night, right? You could instead just spend probably 2 or 3 hours once a week, right? And it is also like, again, do you want to start renegotiating what you have currently with your clients, right? Do you have all the monthly reoccurring clients you want? Do you want to move into a membership and have a contract with these people? You're going to have more leverage. There's so many different options to do that. I will say with phone calls, it's the least efficient. So I would highly suggest getting an intake form. Mogo has them, Groomer.io has them, Groomore has them. Most of the grooming software have them. Get your, thing off, your phone number off, so you're not trying to answer these questions. Another thing you can do too is send them a text afterwards. Tell people to come in and send me an email. So, Brittany, I would also, depending upon what you're looking for, I do have a resource. I do have a virtual assistant who can create one for you. If you don't want to create one and you just want to purchase one, I do have resources of a Google for Google Docs if you want me to send you to somebody. If you do, send me a message. But then at least they fill it in. And if they call you, you can just text them and be like, hey, thank you so much for the voicemail. You can have it on your voicemail. We return all new client inquiries during our office hours, which is Monday between 3 and 7, right? And from there, right, you can, we do not return phone calls. That's another option. If you're a new client, please fill the intake form. Our intake form is on our website. And you can even just copy paste, right? Thank you so much for your inquiry. Any new clients are required to fill out this form. Any clients who are over X amount of weeks need to fill out this form. And then you've got everyone, right? And you can do all of that. And that will really, really reduce your time. But yeah, now is the time to really streamline. Because again, if you're having 200 new people, then it's like, okay, is the clientele I have the right clientele? Are they the perfect? Are they all my soulmate clients? And what is my soulmate client, right? If you're like, my soulmate client is 100 people who get this haircut and they're come every 4 weeks and they pre-book for the year. Okay, well then let's start making that a requirement of anyone new who's coming in and anyone who wants to make an appointment, right? I mean, at least 200 people. And that's on the low end, right? When I sold my shop, and like I said, we had 5 employees. I think we had a clientele of like 1,200 people. So this is where too, you guys may or may not, you know, have an opportunity here, right? And again, you can always be like, listen, we're going to be interviewing a lot of people. We're not going to be doing any appointments over X amount of time. And you can really leverage this, and not in a negative way, right? Because again, you are not in a marriage. So what, unless if you have a membership is like marriage with your clients. And that's why I really love it, because you are mutually committed and they are mutually committed. You are promising them a spot in your schedule, and they are promising to pay you whether or not they show up. If they're not in a marriage, you always have the option to replace them. And that's where I like memberships personally. So, anyway, guys, we are almost at the end of the day. Does anyone have any more questions or insights that they'd like me to help you guys with before we hop off? If not, I'm going to love you and leave you. So let me know. And like I said, I really think that this, and again, I like everything I do. I'm not gonna lie, obviously, right? Like I'm pretty happy, man. I'm pretty thrilled with this. Um, Let me look really quick to see if I have this in here. And again, there's just so much involved with all of that. Am I going to Hershey? So that is a great question. Um, I have the opportunity to go, and I am on the fence. I feel like I'm not speaking, and I was not nominated. Boo. I do have the opportunity to go. And I think if enough people want me to go, then I will go. I'm not going to lie. I just spent a lot of money in Vegas, which was fine. It was in the budget. Um, but I really want to go to Hershey. But I'm also like, am I just being silly? Because I'm literally just going to go and hang out and network, which I also really like. I love hanging out with groomers. That these are my people, right? Like, I love I've never felt more understood than being around other groomers. It's just that, like, and then I know a couple of cat people are going to be there, which I would really, really like. So the answer to me going Hershey is, if you guys want me to go to Hershey, then tell me and I will be there. If no one wants to see me at Hershey, well, then I won't go. So I'm going to leave it up to the masses. If the masses want me to come to Hershey, I will. And I might even post it, be like, do you guys want to see me at Hershey? I won't be speaking, but I can make myself available. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to end that. So, I really appreciate you guys. It's always fun to come on and talk and do all of this stuff. I just have an absolute blast. And this is kind of like what we do, not quite this way. I'll be there for skin and coat and to sugar up the kiddos. I don't like chocolate. I'm like the only person I know uh, who doesn't like chocolate. The only time I will eat chocolate is like once in a great, great blue moon. I haven't been to Hershey in a few years. I like Hershey. It's a super cute little town. The lodge kind of blows, but I will drink chocolate liquor though. Last time I was there, Jameson and I had like 4 chocolate martinis, and it was not good. I get loud and rowdy when I get drinking. I think I'm fun. I think I'm fun when I'm drunk, but I definitely become a woo girl, like woo. So, not my best moment, but at least I'm honest, right? All right, guys. So I'm gonna love you and leave you. If you need anything, you know where I am. There's so many ways of work. Oh, I have to do my sales pitch. Let me do my sales pitch. Oh God. I'm like the worst, right? I'm like, oh yeah, this is the whole point of me doing this, is to sell my stuff. This is when you love what you do, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to like sell my stuff. But I'm really grateful. I really love what I do. I'm really grateful. So as always, guys, there's so many opportunities to work with me. if you're interested in becoming an affiliate, listen, if you're a student of mine and you tell other people about me, become an affiliate. This allows you to earn 10 to 20%. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it opens up into another window. Hang on. Hold the thought. Uh, so annoying. Hang on. Woo, wrong thing. Boop. There we go. So again, you get to earn anywhere between 10 and 20%. It's free. You get to hop in. So, there's so many different things. If you like our stuff and you're telling other people about our stuff, please, 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 make yourself some money. I appreciate you guys. I really, really do. So if you are selling my stuff, make some money. We already had our first affiliate sale. So somebody who always talks about us, always shares our stuff, she now shares it with her link. So now that hopefully she can make some money. She already has, but anyway, so there's tons of stuff about here. And so we have all of our, sales. So this is our group mentoring. And then we have like all of the different things. So the group mentoring is $350 a month. We meet every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And there's lots of goodies in here. So what's nice about the group mentoring is you get access to the business workshop library. Every quarter, you get a live masterclass. You get access to at least 2 workshops quarterly. This is quarter 2. I need to update that. That's my bad. For flip-flop's sake. I keep doing that. That's okay. It keeps opening up in a new tab. Let me try that again. I am so sorry. I am just no good at this. I am just no good. This is why my team is super helpful. So this is the sales page. My bad. So let me go back here. So this is what we include. So we have weekly strategy calls. It's 10 a.m. on Mondays right now, but we might move it to Sunday, depending upon what the group wants. Again, they get members only. They get 50% any of the self-study masterclasses. They also get 50% off any one-on-one coaching packages. Access to the business workshop library. We do a quarterly live masterclass. This quarter, we are doing managed masterclass. Next quarter, we're doing the hire masterclass. Live workshop. So this is a really good deal. Let me go back to my other one. So looks like I have a student. Let's see who it is, saying that they have too many clients and probably need a price increase. So generally speaking with that, oh, hi, Jessa. It really depends upon what your goal is. So the nice thing about the group mentorship, which is also called the Savvy Groomer membership, is that anything you buy, you get half off. So if you want to get this sucker and then get the price increase masterclass, a non-member, it's $1,000. A member, it's $500. So you're immediately going to save half. Generally on this journey, I like to see you guys start with the price increase masterclass. And the reason why is because your pricing is really going to dictate what's going on in your business. This kind of forces you to do an audit of what's in your business, what's your goal, what makes you special. It keeps making me anew. I don't know if I can do that. No, that's not what I want. Oh, it's funky. What does this do? Woo! It's fun. It's so funky. Don't mind me. La la la. Oh, I can make the whole window. I like the window. Let's do that. That's smart. So there we go. So the price increase masterclass, we go over a ton of different stuff. We need to know your numbers. Like, what have you invested? A lot of you guys haven't actually counted up what your investment would be. And I think a lot of you are really shocked at how much money that you would, unfortunately, if things were to get redone, how much they would be. I was able to open up a grooming salon at about 10 grand on a credit card almost 13 years ago. That won't even touch your tubs at this point. So we need to get your numbers, and we need to know if you had to replace everything, what would it cost? Because inflation has been a real bitch. And then we need to figure out what you really want to earn. How much money do you want to earn? How much money do you want in your pocket? And then also kind of like if you had employees or, if you do have employees, we need to make sure that we can create a livable wage. And for better or for worse, again, inflation has really hit. So we need to figure out what that would need to be. You need to understand what makes you special, right? To stand out. And then how we're actually going to implement that plan. How are we actually going to create a plan to get you to that bigger amount? Is that going to be a quick increase? Is that going to be a major increase? How are we going to do it? And then we're going to communicate that price increase to your clients, and then how to handle difficult. If you do have the membership, then you're going to save half, and you're going to have at least 1 month worth of communication with the group and lives to work with that. And then, once you've gone through a price increase masterclass, it sounds like something like membership masterclass would be a really good one. Now, what I like about this sucker is it basically helps you become more empowered. It creates this win-win, right? And we're going to teach you like what clients do who actually wants a membership, how to find the perfect price for your membership, because we teach 5 different membership models. Deciding what membership model is right for you. Again, we teach 5 of them. Setting up the back end, and then how to get these clients to actually commit. Like, how do you actually sell it, right? And then how to handle people who have objections. So, and again, if you're going through these self-study master classes and you're a part of the membership, then you can message me and be like, hey, I'm in membership masterclass module 6 talking about objections. If someone said this, can we create a script? Can we do this? Can we do that? So that is something we're working on. And then we are also beta launching this month, text coaching. So it's going to be called River in Your Pocket, and it is a texting based coaching. So for a flat fee, you get access to being able to text me using Voxer, which is both a walkie-talkie app and a texting app. So you're going to be able to text me, and that's going to be separate from the membership. However, if you are a member, you will get, as always, 50% off a month. So we're going to beta test that and see if that is something A, I like, B, if you guys like. And I think that is really going to be great for some of you guys that kind of have like these vague ideas. The only thing I will mention is that River in Your Pocket will not be an immediate, you can text me 24/7. It will be, I will text you back within 48 hours, right? This is not emergency coaching. This is, for those of us that are ADD like me, and you're like, hey, I had this idea. What do you think? And then, tomorrow or the next day, or as I have availability, I'd be like, this is what I think about that. And here is support. So we're going to try that out. I know a lot of you guys have been, especially as we're coming into the holiday season, you've asked for, more last minute coaching appointments. And it's not easy for me to, block that time off. My kiddo is going to be homeschooled this year, and blocking that time off really is not easy. However, if I can pick it up and put it down and kind of digest and go look for resources, I think that would be a lot easier for me. And for better or for worse, I can help way more people doing something like that than doing one-on-one coaching. So it is overtime, guys. I am going to love you and leave you. Mwah! As always, guys, I appreciate you. I always have fun. I really love what I do. So I'm going to hit the video clip. And as always, guys, happy growing.